she's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour. We're happy to have you with us today, and we're happy to have with us actress and writer Tina Alexis Allen. Welcome, Tina. Hey, I'm so happy to have you here. You know, you've had such an extraordinary career. I can't wait to talk about all the things that have built to where you are today and the cool work you're doing to help raise money for the Parkland kids.
Yeah.
I mean, who isn't like top of mind awareness about this whole gun issue? And I think it's so cool that you and your partner are doing something about that. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that.
Good.
But first I want to talk about your incredible journey. I know you started off in fashion and ended up being an actress, and now you're also a writer. And, you know, I want to talk about how this all evolved. Now, originally, you were doing some fashion with Willie Smith, the famous Willie Smith.
Yes.
In, where was that,
New York City.
In
Yep.
New York.
Fashion
Oh
Avenue.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he...
I can tell you're a fashionista. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I came out of college with an MBA.
Yeah.
I went to the business side of fashion. I was always attracted to fashion, but I had no idea I was going to end up in entertainment. No one in my family had. I hadn't even done a school play. Yeah. So the fact that I had a bit of an epiphany at 30 and decided I wanted to become an actress was still to this day a bit shocking to me.
You know what? I think you'll inspire a lot of listeners out there who are like in that same boat. Maybe they're 30, 40. I've known actresses that have been 50 and they started their acting career. I've actually had her on, and she's doing quite well too.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always say it's never too late to make your dreams happen.
It's when we're ready. You know, that's the thing. I wasn't ready. If I had tried to become an actress at 20, it would have been horrible.
Right. And you ended up being on a very popular WGN show called The Outsiders. And how long did you do that show?
The show was 2 years, so I was on for 2 years. Sadly, they sold the network, so the show and every other show that was on WGN was canceled.
Right.
But it was a ball.
But it had a good run.
Had a great run. It was their best series. David Morse was our lead, Ryan Hurst, Kyle Gallner. It was an amazing ensemble. I have to say it was the most satisfying
Now, the
experience.
premise of it was like being coal miners, right?
We weren't coal miners, but it was essentially a battle for the land. And I was part of David's family, and we had lived on this mountain going back 200 years. So we're Kentucky, born and raised, and live off the land, and there's no running water. And
now you were born in Maryland, right?
I was born in Maryland.
How in the world do you do this acting as like a Kentucky, coal mining town?
I don't know. I did an off-Broadway play called Underground, which actually was about the Sago mining disaster. So I had
this
done.
topic keeps calling your name.
It does.
Huh?
And my family jokes. I'm the youngest of 13, which is a whole nother story. But my family always jokes like, how is it that you're playing all these gals from West Virginia and Kentucky and all that? And I don't know, maybe a prior life or something.
Yeah, it's so funny. It couldn't be farther from your reality, but that's what makes you a really good actress.
Thank you. I loved playing the character Shurn. She was she was a woman who was in the midst of a loss of her child, so there was all this, sort of moving through that grief, but also she was the fiercest mountain lion you could imagine.
And being like that top show on that network, like, do you get people saying, "Oh my God, I love that show"?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that was all the time. They're like, why did they're like boycotting WGN? I'm like, it's like a business decision. It wasn't personal.
Right.
You can watch the network.
I could totally see myself being on a show called The Outsiders, but it would have nothing to do with Kentucky coal mining for sure.
Well, it wasn't lost on me that I was part of such a huge clan.
Yeah.
So much of everything on that show was about the clan. It was, and timely too.
And it's such a timely topic too, just about the coal mining and how that industry's going away, and
the fight for land and bureaucracy versus people wanting to live their own way, and that's very prevalent now too.
It's too bad that they should still be doing that show. It's relevant today.
We were hoping Netflix was going to pick it up, but it was it happened very fast, and it was just.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, could come back. Other shows have come back in the past, so.
But let's talk about all the other cool stuff that you've done
Okay.
and that you are doing. First of all, you grew up in Maryland, right?
I did, Chevy Chase.
Which
you did too.
I grew up right near there.
Yeah, you
McLean,
were
Virginia. Yep, right out.
amazing.
Right, like we were both from that basic DC
Metropolitan
area.
area.
I always find in LA, I have to say to people, I'm basically from the DC area because
Yeah.
nobody's ever heard of where we're from.
Yeah. Just say
But
you're from
DC
DC.
they've heard of.
They get it.
But anyway, so we're both basically from that DC area. And then you were from a family of 13, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Shocking.
And you were the youngest?
And I am the youngest.
Wow. Yeah, you're not were, you are.
Yeah, I am, and we're all
We'll
alive
always
and
be.
healthy, and will always be. It's one of the things like in life that people get so blown away. They want all the, how does that work? Can you remember their names? All those silly questions. But when it's all you know, it's all you know.
And when you did a play based on your family.
I did.
And you played every single character.
Nearly.
Is that true?
It is. I played 13 or 14 characters.
God, that
my
is
parents,
crazy.
many of my siblings, our housekeeper, my father's secretary, a lot. Yeah.
Oh my God. I would love to see that. What was the name of it?
Irresistible.
Irresistible. I love that. You think you'll do it again?
What happened is I did that show in LA, and then it sort of, I don't know, it morphed into me then doing an off-Broadway show called Secrets of a Holy Father, which was me playing just my father, because his story is so big and important that I wanted to explore what it would be to, just become him.
Now, what I love about that story is you did 2 nights off-Broadway in New York.
Yes.
And got a book deal out of it.
Yeah, actually, I ran at the Cherry Lane in New York, but when I brought it to LA, I did 2 nights here, and I got a book deal, essentially. Yeah,
With,
Joe Gottler at Intellectual Property Group. Andrea Quinn, who you know,
yes,
produced
we love Andrea
it.
Quinn.
Yeah, with her husband Chris. She produced these nights in LA, and so
and didn't you get with HarperCollins?
Well, HarperCollins ended up publishing the book.
That's huge.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, that's great.
Thank you.
I think we have a picture of the book. The name of the book.
Hiding Out, a memoir of drugs, deception, and double lives.
Wow. And this is your true story, your family story.
It is. It's specifically the story of my father and myself sort of living this double secretive life together.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I would love to, we'll kind of reveal that here because everybody will be like, wow. So the book.
Sorry, it's LA cold season.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. So the book is with HarperCollins. People can get that on Amazon.
On Amazon, Kindle, audiobook I recorded, which was really fun.
And say the name again because it's so long I can't remember it.
It's okay. Hiding Out.
Hiding Out. They just got to look up Hiding Out.
Excuse me. Hiding Out, a memoir of drugs,
Tina
deception.
Alexis Allen.
Yes. A memoir of drugs, deception, and double lives.
Okay. Drugs, deception, and double lives.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to read this book?
It's
I think it's a movie, right?
Well, yeah, or a TV series, which I'm writing now. At least I'm writing the pilot now. We'll see which way it goes. It could be either, easily.
Yeah. Nowadays, it a lot of times something starts as a movie and ends up being a series.
Yeah,
and
or
people are into
vice
that.
versa these days.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop a...
Yeah. People like to binge watch.
They do, and also, it's such a family drama that people just get so sucked in.
Right.
And in this case, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I love true stories.
Yeah.
And deception and all and drugs and bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay, so where you're at with that is you've written the series, you've written the movie. It could go either way. That's kind of what you're working on now. Seems like everything you do manifests. So I'm sure
I work on it.
Yeah, I'm sure we can expect that soon. What's a little bit that you could share with us? I know you don't want to give the whole thing away, but enough that we want to read your book and see the movie.
I'm so sorry for coughing. So basically, when I was 16, I was in the closet deeply, and I grew up in a very Catholic family. And so my dad suspected something, and he brought it to me. And he was very formidable and much as you could imagine a strict priest might be.
And let's preface that your family was very religious.
Oh, yes.
Super religious.
Super religious. The rosary every night,
Yeah.
Daily mass with my parents. So when he came to me with this revelation that he knew, he then proceeded to say that he had buried his lover in the war.
Oh, my God.
And that,
wow, were you like shocked?
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like on the floor.
Yeah, on the floor.
And
You're
I wasn't
in this
even
religious family with this
Yeah.
strict dad, and you come to find out he had a gay lover.
Exactly.
Like, hello, wow.
But then I came to learn that there was a lot more.
yeah.
Uh,
Wait a minute. A lot more lovers, or a lot
Yes.
more to the story?
Well, both.
Okay, both.
Both.
Okay.
And something that he was living currently. So the two of us take this crazy ride for a number of years, keeping the secret from my parents, from my mother, and from my siblings.
Oh, wow.
And, clubs, poppers,
Yeah.
trips around the world. We were really in deep into this lifestyle.
You and your dad bonded over this fact that you were both gay.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
went on this like party binge with him.
Yeah.
Secretive too.
Yeah, becoming
all of your
best friends.
siblings and mom not knowing. Wow,
Exactly.
that is some cover up.
Yeah. And then there's Vatican secrets, which I won't get into because he had very high level connections to the people at the Vatican, which was
Right.
always strange for a Catholic travel agent from Washington D.C.
Yeah.
It was
And
always
is this
a
in the
bit-
book?
Yes.
Okay.
So I don't want to say too much.
Right.
But I will say that it's something that you wouldn't believe if it weren't true.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's one of those books.
One of those books. Okay.
And I wrote it from my first person voice as a young adult.
And you did this as a
purposely.
play.
Well, I did.
Part of it.
Well, I played my father, and I told his version.
Oh wow, that's fabulous. That's
Just him.
fascinating.
I only
Yeah.
played him in that show.
Yeah.
And then the book was my point of view. So the
Right.
book became then my voice
Right.
of how I experienced it. But the solo show, the second one I had done,
Right.
was about just from his voice, only him. It was quite amazing playing a man. It was even more amazing playing him because he was really complicated.
And you're one of
And
those.
today's his birthday.
Oh,
How
wow.
crazy is
Well,
that?
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Dad. And so now everything's out in the open, and
Yeah,
are
yeah.
your
I mean,
parents still together?
my
or-
parents are both gone. My parents
okay.
separated when my mother eventually found out everything.
Oh wow.
But they did end up, believe it or not, back together.
Was she upset with you?
Never that no, I don't think so. I never felt that. I think it was just, raising 13 kids, there's not a lot
I
of
guess
space.
after finding out her husband was gay, finding out her daughter was no big deal.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I actually came out to her, which is also in the book. There's a whole
Did you come out first, or did
I
he?
did.
You did.
I did. And it sort of blows up, but I don't want to say too much. But what I will say, especially to young listeners perhaps of your show, is that it helps heal when you tell the truth. It doesn't
Oh,
heal.
I'm a huge believer in that.
It doesn't heal right away. It's
Right.
messy and sometimes really
Yes.
hurtful and painful.
Yes.
But in the end, you can't live in a family full of secrets and live freely. And so for me, I feel in some ways that I've been a conduit, even starting way back then when I was in my early 20s, when I did decide I can't carry these secrets anymore.
Right.
And I've sort of been revealing
Yeah.
as I've gone on in my life and become more and more comfortable in my own skin, and
Right.
also sharing a lot of bumps I had as a child, abuse and other things as a kid, and those things are just part of the journey. It's part
Right.
of. But there's freedom at the end. That's
Right.
really what I want to say.
And when you say abuse, like
Yeah.
what did that look like?
Well, I mean, it's in the book, but it's not the book. It's just context for why is this young gal in her 20s bouncing off the walls and being so crazy and self-destructive. Well, the reason was because I had multiple situations when I was a child, one with a teacher and one with a family member. So I had experienced sexual abuse as a child.
Right.
A lot.
So you're part of that Me Too movement,
Very much so.
as are most women.
Yeah, very
Right,
much so.
right, which
And
is sad.
and it definitely defined me in a way that I mean positively. if those things hadn't happened to me, I don't think I'd be a voice for those who are still feeling ashamed or not quite telling the truth or not quite telling, owning their story.
Right.
And that's really
You're
why
also a good role model for women. Like, you're a feminine woman, and so people don't necessarily think you're gay. And so I think it's always good to send a message that, gay people look like all different things. You can't stereotype us. Not everybody looks like me.
You look great. You look great.
But you can't.
Well, you can't.
You don't always know. So it's good to embrace it and not judge people.
Absolutely, and I think that goes a long way in our culture right now. Like there's so much judging going on in our climate right now. There's so much judging of
people
of
don't always
other.
know who they're talking to.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's if you're this or you're that or your skin's a different color or your orientation's different, immediately there's all kinds of stories and assumptions, and they're not true.
Yeah, I just don't get it because for me it's just so obvious. Like we should all just love the souls of each other. Who cares?
We're all going to end up in the same place.
Yeah,
so to think that we should have a pecking order while we're here is kind of absurd.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like if somebody was born in one body and they're another body, who cares? Like let them be.
Yeah.
Like if they're born black or Iranian or Jewish or whatever.
Yeah.
Like who cares? Like
it's
that
interesting.
doesn't define us. It's just like we're all. The bottom line is everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants friends. Everybody wants good things to happen, right? So
Absolutely.
why not just be kind to each other, right? So I'm totally with you. We're on the same page.
Yes, we are.
You have been through a lot. I mean, your book and your show, and I think it's really courageous of you to tell that story in your plays, in your book, and in your upcoming movie or TV series.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people won't tell their stories.
Yep.
And there's something freeing about telling your story. Now, did you find that when you told your story, did it feel healing? And like, okay, this isn't a secret anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm sharing it with people.
Well, initially in the early days of doing those shows, there was a lot of that because I was still very much in the process of healing, and I'm sure that's why I was writing them and performing them.
Yeah.
By the time I got to my book, to be honest, I felt really on the other side of it, which is why I could hold it so shamelessly.
Yeah.
So when you read it, you're just like, oh my God, like a lot of sex, a lot of craziness.
Yeah.
It's all there.
Oh, now I'm definitely in the book.
And so it's the shameless part.
Right.
But yes, along the way, absolutely. And
So
I've always
originally when you wrote the show and did the show, it was
Yes.
difficult to get through it.
Yeah, I would say the first solo show when I played, so many of those characters, I was really exploring things and saying things in public for the first time on a stage.
Wow,
and
that's
so
courageous.
And so by the time, I got on Megyn Kelly a year ago with my book and was saying these things publicly, they didn't hold the same charge, and I knew that I was on a mission to free up anybody who was still sitting at home watching going, I feel ashamed that this happened to me. Not that they even did it, but even maybe those that did it, that they're perpetrators need to heal too.
And I find also too that people don't even know they're carrying it around.
It's very true.
Like the minute they write it or perform it or do
just
whatever
like,
to just tell people, they don't even realize they were carrying a boulder on their shoulder.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, even my father's sexuality, obviously you can imagine coming from the family that I've described, there's so much holding an image and upholding our importance and our image that, to let him be who he was really for me the point of doing my second show as him, because I felt he was gone by then, but I felt that to allow him to be free maybe in his afterlife, in a way that he couldn't be here through me, felt like it might have healing powers for other people too, and there was, because he didn't get to be free, and I thought, I'm not going to perpetuate this legacy of someone who was this quietly and then this publicly. It's like, that's the problem. That's why he lived that way, because in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, you couldn't live freely. Yeah. So
how sad was that?
Yeah. And so now it's sort of like, I'm not going to perpetuate it with my nieces and nephews, my great nieces, and I want to be the move forward his legacy to be he was all of that.
I still know people today, even though our culture has changed so dramatically, that they still aren't out at work or different things. And I always think that's such a boulder they're carrying around, but they don't even know it.
Yeah.
And it really does put a little shadow over your inner pilot, don't you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I relate personally because it took me a really long time.
At 40, I finally came out to my parents, and 5 years ago, and it totally it lightened my whole spirit, you know. And I've seen it in other people too. Yeah, my wife for one. You know, you see people's whole spirit become brighter once they're their authentic selves.
Absolutely. And the shame in the family gets lifted too.
Yes, everybody's freed.
Yeah,
everybody's
it's
freed.
sort of like you might wish in a way that it wasn't said or the neighbor didn't know, but in the end, you know, the neighbor's got their own stuff. The neighbor doesn't have a lot of time.
Yeah, most people don't care.
They don't care.
You know, you're carrying around all this weight, thinking everybody cares so much, and then you come out with this whole big thing, and people are like, oh yeah, I knew that, or oh, I didn't care.
Exactly.
Or so is my uncle, so is my, you know, so is my whatever, and nobody cares. In fact, everybody, like you said, feels that sigh of relief.
Yeah.
So I love the work that you're doing. I love that you
so
share
much.
your story.
Thank
and
you.
I want to talk about Parkland because we said we're going to. And I know a lot of people are listening and can't see the jewelry you have on, but you and your partner have created some jewelry that the proceeds are going to help Shine, which is an organization that helps the kids at Parkland. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we teamed up this summer with two gals who are survivors of Parkland, and they have a nonprofit called Shine, as you mentioned. And basically what they do is they use art and art therapy to help heal the trauma of gun violence in their community. And so we created this piece, an affordable piece that the young and the old can wear and afford. Yeah. It's unisex, it says safe, and it stands for See All Faces Equal, which is kind of timely about everything, because when you think about gun violence, so much of the psychology of it is that generally the perpetrator of that doesn't see all faces equal.
Right.
And so in a way,
that's powerful.
In a way, it really is about what we were just talking about, which is that we're all the same.
Yeah, it's all perception, isn't it?
It is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
shifting our perception.
Yeah.
And anyone can shift their perception.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, my partner Gina Raffaella and I created Gina Raffaella Jewelry a few years ago, and we've been giving proceeds to places like Moms Demand Action and places that are promoting peace, not all nonprofits. And then we decided to do something special. And the idea, hopefully, now will be that we create a piece special for other areas like Dayton and Orlando. And
so when people buy this jewelry and they wear it, first of all, they're sending a message.
Amen.
And the money goes to Shine.
Yes.
And Shine is helping the victims of
Parkland.
Of Parkland.
Exactly. That whole community.
Beautiful. That's perfect.
Yeah, because when you think about it, when these traumas happen, you know, of course, there's the real victims who are no longer with us, but there's also all the kids. Yeah. And then there are the parents, and then there's the teachers, and then there's a whole community that's feeling this PTSD, frankly.
Oh, totally.
And so art therapy, as we know as artists, can go a long way to alleviating that trauma.
And you know, I think those Parkland kids have single-handedly stood out amongst, I mean, all of the terrible crime scenes that have happened in the past years.
Yeah.
I think they've done one of the best jobs of coordinating people around the country to really get behind change. Don't you?
That's it.
They're exceptional kids.
They're amazing. Obviously, Emma Gonzalez was a big, part of that and becoming sort of the voice of Parkland. Mm-hmm. We felt, and we've been trying to sort of engage with the youth, and I think this piece we finally hit it where we're like, yes, we're not only wanting to reach the youth, but we're giving to the youth, and they're giving back.
That's so perfect.
By wearing it. And you can get it online at GinaRaffaella.com.
Right, so they can Google GinaRaffaella.com or go to the site.
Yeah, GinaRaffaella.com.
And then how can we find you? At your Tina Alexis Allen?
Yeah, my handle is basically Tina Alexis Allen, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm on a lot, so follow, and I'll follow you back, and we'll stay in touch, and that's fun.
Great, so we can find out when your movie and TV series
are coming out. From your lips to God's ears.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, and
welcome.
Thanks for I like to have on women that are giving back and paying it forward, and I appreciate you doing this for Parkland.
Thank you, and you deserve a shout out for all you're doing for women and giving the platform for people to come on and make change. So thank you.
Thanks. We're in this together, right?
We are.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Make it a great week. We hope that you will visit GinaRaffaella.com and get your jewelry, and also stay in touch with Tina Alexis Allen through social media. Make it a great day. Thanks for being here. Hugs and happiness.